All right, we're going live. Hi, everyone. I'm immigration attorney John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be doing a Q&A to discuss and go over some immigration stuff and just update you on what's happening, and also most importantly, taking your questions and trying to give answers to the confusion and the mess that is U.S. immigration and process. I'm sure a lot of you are going through stuff right now that are kind of confusing you, make you wonder what's going on, what do I need to do? And so I have this live Q&A Monday through Friday Pacific time here to take your questions. We're on Facebook Live, JQK Law Firm is the screen name. Also here primarily on TikTok. So Immigration Lawyer John is the username, the profile name. John is John. You can find the recording of this and clips of the material here on the YouTube page, JQK Law Firm. Search that, go to the YouTube page, go to the Instagram page, you go to the LinkedIn page. A lot more material that'll help you out in those locations. And like, subscribe, and ring the bell when you're on YouTube to make sure you get updates as they come on the information provided here. So to start, thank you for joining. Everyone's trickling in. We're going to get into questions as they come up. But I wanted to go through something that was discussed yesterday, a question that came up from a person before we had to leave yesterday. We didn't have time to finish it, which is, I-130 is approved, what do you do next? So I'm going to explain this because there's different ways it could happen, but I'm going to explain this in the context of someone who's overseas. So imagine you file an I-130 petition. This is when you have a family member, you have to show the USCIS, the immigration system in the United States, that you're really related. You submit the petition for alien relative for I-130 along with other documentation as needed depending on whether it's a brother or sister case, a child case, a parent case, or a spouse case. Eventually that gets approved. Once it's approved, the case gets sent to the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center is an agency that works within the Department of State to collect documentation to eventually set up and work with the embassies to set up an interview at the embassy for an immigrant visa. Now, an immigrant visa is not a green card. It's just a visa to enter the United States, and once you enter, the green card's issued. So that's the overlap, the 10,000 foot view of the process. But when USCIS approves it, it could take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months for the National Visa Center, the NVC, to actually get the file in hand. And then also, not every case immediately starts. Now, if you're a case based on marriage to a U.S. citizen or parent of a U.S. citizen, the case starts pretty immediately right there, and you can start to work with the National Visa Center. But if you're doing a case that's a brother and sister case, that could take 10, 15, 20 years. So you won't begin submitting a National Visa Center case until the date of filing. There's charts on this called the Visa Bulletin that say when you can start submitting paperwork. But then eventually you do submit paperwork to the National Visa Center. There's financial documents, birth certificates, civil documents, a Form DS-260, along with a whole host of other stuff. Once they're accepted, once you've properly submitted those, then the case eventually has an interview scheduled where the foreign applicant goes to an interview, talks with the embassy officer to make sure they have a clean history and they're able to come to U.S. If approved, they get a stamp in their passport. Sometimes they need to do additional review of the case called administrative processing, or they may ask for more documents. And that process could take anywhere from a day to a year sometimes till it's finished, if sometimes leads to denial even. But once it's finished and they stamp the passport with the immigrant visa, you have a certain set amount of time to come to the United States to get your green card. There's a medical checkup in there, and there's all sorts of other stuff. I don't want to go too much into detail, but that's the general recap of consular processing that you need to do. If you go to the National Visa Center's website, they do have a walkthrough to go through this process. But if you want to schedule a consultation, discuss it, please email my office. It's info@jqqlaw.com and describe the immigration that you have so we can see what's happening. We'll set up a consultation. There are consultation fees involved, but just email my office. Let me know what the issues are, what's going on in your case, and then we could take it from there to a video consultation to talk and see what's going on. I take cases from across the country so I can help you wherever you are. It doesn't matter where my location is, your location is. All this stuff's done by uploading documents to the National Visa Center so I can help you with that process. All right, so let's get to questions. We had one pop up. El July Guay asked, what about having a DUI? Does that affect it? Yes, DUI can affect it. It depends on the facts of the DUI, so we need to know exactly what the charges were, what the conviction was, what other history you have. If just one DUI, usually it's not too bad, but I got to know the whole story of what happened. If you had a DUI and you hit somebody, that's really serious. If you had a DUI and the police chased you, that's serious. And these things come up. People ask me, what if I had one DUI? And then we dig in the history. It turns out they ran someone over. So it's more than a DUI. So that's why, as an experienced immigration lawyer who's gone through this many times, I have to see the facts. I got to see the paperwork to see what happened there. But thank you for your question. Okay, we have a good group joining us. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what part of town, what part of the country, what part of the world you're joining us from, and also just a general immigration issue that you have, what you're going through right now. El July asks, no DUI, just no criminal history. Well, I can't ask you if it does or not affect you until I see what's going on with your specific case. Probably if it's just one DUI, it's okay. The current administration's gone stricter on there. They do have discretion. It's fully, everything about immigration is discretionary, meaning an officer can make a decision that they want to. So even though you have one DUI, historically it has not been a problem, you never know what the next situation is. So when we submit your case, we want to make sure to show that you're a good person, all the good things you've done to balance that out, and be able to explain what happened that you got this one DUI, so they look at you in a better light, because again, it's fully discretionary. User 862 asks, I had a petition I-36 in December, no receipt till today. I don't know what to tell you. See, I got to look into what happened. So unfortunately, I've got a receipt. It's too long. Maybe contact USCIS to see what's going on. Cashmon asks, after all the documents are complete in the National Visa Center, we talked about this earlier, they should send me a letter. I did not receive any. Once the documents are received, eventually you'll receive a confirmation that all the documents are acceptable, and be patient and wait for a notification from the U.S. Embassy or from them to schedule, work with the embassy to schedule an appointment time. So if you're doing consular processing, you'll get an email that says all the documents are complete, and you have to wait for an email that says an embassy appointment is going to come. Because the embassies are shut down to the coronavirus right now, you're probably not going to get an appointment anytime soon, but they can open up anytime, and they can schedule maybe down the line in June or July or something. We don't know. So every day, every second of this is new, something we haven't gone through before, but if your documents are complete and they accepted it, at this point you just have to be patient. If it's been a long time, 6 months, a year or something like that, try following up with them to make sure they haven't lost your case. I've had that happen before, but you just got to wait to see how they're dealing with it and what's going on with it. All right, cool. We got a good group here. So yeah, the consular processing phase is surprisingly annoying and complex. Thank you, user 860. I appreciate that. You'd be surprised of what pops up when we get started and we start collecting documents and getting into people's lives and their birth certificates. I mean, I've had times where people's birth certificates and their passports didn't match, and they just realized that when they're 40 years old. Or they ask for address history since you were 16 and they don't remember this, and it becomes a problem trying to figure it out. We have to get police certificates, which they want you to know. They want to know if you lived anywhere for a long period of time, that you had a clean history in that location. And so we have to request police certificates. Some countries, like Switzerland, it's really easy. I go online and order it, they send it to your house. Some countries like Greece, it's a real big problem, a hassle to try to get this police certificate. We have to jump through so many hoops, takes months and months and months. So it's a battle every time. It's different. The embassies change the rules. There's also the affidavit of support portion, affidavit of support form I-864. This is where they're looking into your finances to see if you're able to support the foreign person coming. This is the petitioner. There's a domicile requirement there too that messes up a lot of people. You have to be living in the United States if you started the case. You have to be making money. You may need a joint sponsor as well if you don't make enough. And nowadays, their public charge rule, they have a new DS 5540, which is looking at the background of the foreign person. The administration might force people to buy health insurance before they come to the United States. This issue is in court right now, trying to figure out what to do about it. But there's a mess of these problems that are popping up. So it makes it really complicated. And when people do on their own, I've seen them unnecessarily cause delays that really push things back, and it takes a long time, much longer than it should. I have a case right now where I'm helping a woman who got married bring her husband in, and she tried to do her dad's case on her own. The husband's case is about to be finished, and the dad's case that started like 2-3 years ago is still pending because they kept submitting wrong documents. And for her husband, she's like, I'm not going to mess around this time. I'm not going to make the same mistakes. And so we're jumping on that and getting things done the proper way. But these things happen. It's that's why lawyers are here for. It's just what we help do. There's a big bureaucracy with the government that you have to deal with. Every employee that you're dealing with the government may be new or not know what's going on, and a lot of them do know what's going on, but at the same time, you never know who you're dealing with, just like any other job. There's people who do their job well, and there's other people who don't do their job well. And so it's the same thing with lawyers, same thing with everybody. So that's why having a person that's advocating on your behalf, that cares about what they do and cares about you, is really important to help walk you through this process and help be there to watch out for these hurdles, to avoid delays, unnecessary denials, all this kind of stuff. And so that's what we're here to do at the JQK law firm. I handle most of this stuff myself, exclusively myself. If you just email me at info@jqklaw.com, we can connect and take it from there. So we got a lot of people joining. Sayed, Mirv, Seem, user, girl 0318. Thank you for joining. Let me know what part of the country you're joining from, what part of the world. We're going to talk some more immigration as we keep moving forward on this stuff. And so it's been a wild week. Every day it's a new thing. They may be opening up the situation with USCIS for oath ceremonies. So people who have citizenship appointments or who had their citizenship case approved after the interview haven't been able to become U.S. citizens. And this is because the oath ceremonies, like after their interview and they're approved, they have to go somewhere and promise, I'm going to be a good person, I'm going to be American, I'm going to love America, and then they issue a naturalization certificate. Because of COVID-19, because of social distancing, they've shut that down. It used to be large room stadiums. They fill up with people to do the swearing-in ceremony. That's been shut down for a couple of months, delaying people's ability to get citizenship, which has been a hassle because some people want to get citizenship so then they could file for their parents' green card case. Well, that's been put on hold unexpectedly. You know, no one could have expected something like that. So word is, at least in Los Angeles, they're going to start somewhat doing oath ceremonies in June. There's going to be a lot less people, so they can do social distancing, they can be separated. So they're doing that, and all I know is Los Angeles, that's what I know the best. And so that's interesting. Also, a helpful thing is the biometrics requirements have been paused for many cases, so they could issue employment authorization documents, EADs, also known as work permits, for people who have, for example, green card cases pending that could also apply for work permit, so they could get those without that worry. So it's happening a little faster than it used to be. But you know, this is every day it changes, every day is new news. That could be easily shut down just as quickly. So if you're joining on TikTok, please go to my profile page when you have a chance. There's a link tree and it has links to be able to join my newsletter, so you get updates on the information that we have, as well as ability to follow me on Instagram, on other social media channels. Get those, because I have a lot more information, copies of my approval notices, for example, on Instagram, JQK Law Firm, that have timelines on there to give you an idea of what I'm doing, the successes I had, and how long things took. It varies drastically. You never know what's going to happen with your case. It's not, results vary. But that may be someplace you can go to check it out to get some idea about my work, about what I do, and just more information and knowledge about immigration law. It's what I like to do, what I like to talk about every day. That's why I'm here every day, 5 p.m. to 5:30 Pacific, on this wonderful Friday, to do this kind of work, to help guide you. It's this really scary kind of times. Just going through this process is scary. Dealing with government agents is scary. You're coming from a foreign country, come to a new place. You really want someone there that cares and can hold your hand and be with you through the process, to escort you, is there when you email them, there when you call them. I just got a new client on Monday, and this person had said they had a lawyer, and the lawyer disappeared on them for 7 months. They don't know what's going on. I'm like, oh my God, how's that possible? But I said, okay, let's jump into it. Let's clean everything up and start it afresh. And so, these people are worried, they're crying, they don't know what's going on, it's confusing. And so I try my best to just be here and help people through that process. So thank you everyone who's jumping in the channel. Feel free to ask some quick questions if you had any. The immigration system can be confusing. I know you got a lot of stuff popping up, but let's just go over some typical questions. Hi, Kanat. Hi, Steve. Thank you for joining. Let's see. So one thing I talked about earlier when I first started, it was this I-130 petition getting approved, eventually doing consular processing. In the meantime, if you have a parent of a U.S. citizen case, a child of a U.S. citizen, or a spouse of a U.S. citizen, there's no wait between the time of the I-130 approval and being able to submit documents to the National Visa Center. The only wait is the practical wait of the National Visa Center getting the paperwork, creating your file, and then making the request for you. On the other end, the problem that pops up is if you're not one of those cases. For example, if you're a brother and sister of a U.S. citizen, an adult child of a U.S. citizen, or adult child of a green card holder, those kind of preference category cases that are on the visa bulletin, those could take longer. Right now, the spouse and minor child of a green card holder are current, just like if you're married to a U.S. citizen. That could change. But what that means is it takes longer, there's a bigger line, until they'll ask you to start submitting documents for consular processing to the National Visa Center. So you have to be patient in those kind of cases. Keep an eye out on the Visa Bulletin. I did a video, I think it was yesterday or day before, you could catch it on YouTube, where I explain what the Visa Bulletin is. But it's a chart that gets updated every month. And what you do is you look to see when you submitted the I-130, you get what's called the priority date, and you check that chart and you see, where's my case on here? I'm on F4 category, F2B category, whatever the category that you are is, and explains what those categories are. You see when you filed your I-130, and you see which cases are being decided at that time, and if it passes the timeline of your case is going to come up. But if it's still, if your case was submitted March 1st, 2020, but they're handling cases in there that are started March 1st, 2018, for example, you got to wait 2 years before it's your turn. So that kind of stuff pops up, and so you got to be mindful of that when you're waiting for a case. Those are the delays, and it changes. Sometimes it's 2 years to wait, and sometimes it looks like next month it's going to be current, is what they call it, and then it jumps back again. So it's all over the place, and it's really hard to judge the timelines on that. All right, kind of asked my H-1B file sent to USCIS. How much time will it take for approval? Currently, I am CPT. There is no exact time on approval. Last year, there were cases that were pending 8, 9, 10 months till next January. So there's no timeline as to how long it'll take, hopefully faster rather than later. But if you're in CPT, I mean, you're still going to school, you're an F1 student, just continue that until you get the notice. But there's no fixed timeline as to how long things will take. So there's no answer to your question. Forever Gone asks, what happens if someone uses his wife to get his green card? What happens? I don't know. They get their green card. That's about it. I don't know what to tell you. Next question, it says, can my friend go to college without a social security number? So you don't have to have a social security number to go to college in many states. I can know at least in California, they accept people here even undocumented. But in those kind of situations, you know, you don't want to ask for federal aid because they may ask if you're a U.S. citizen, and a lot of people mistakenly say yes to get that federal aid, and that becomes a big crime, a big issue for immigration purposes. So I would recommend that. But at least in California, anyone can enter college here. They made it open like that. Charlie Kelly asks, my green card expedite request got approved last week. Congrats. How long does it take for them to decide and send a green card? I don't know. It just depends on how long the post office takes. Sometimes they say approved, they don't get around to sending it out. It's all over the place. A few weeks, maybe a month and a half, maybe longer. The whole thing with the timelines is that it just depends on the people you're dealing with. Some people might have the file ready to put in the post, but they forget to put it there. Sometimes the post office loses it. There's like a million and one things, so it's really hard to tell you how long it's going to take, but if it's got approved, it got approved. I'm not sure how you would do a green card expedite. It depends on which category you are, but I got to see exactly what's going on in your case to see what you mean by getting expedite on that. But if it's been approved, then it's approved. If it's expedite, it's approved to review it. It might take a while to review it. I don't know. I have to see what's going on. Alira asks, will Trump extend his executive order? Well, President Trump has many executive orders. I don't know which one you're talking about. So you got to look into that. Now, Forever Gone follows up, says, would it be punished, or, you know, saying her husband married her just for the green card, could it be punished or deported? I mean, if you could prove that there was fraud involved, then they could potentially be punished if they choose to enforce it and go after them. But you got to prove it's fraud. I mean, it can't just be someone who's angry that their spouse doesn't love them anymore or something like that. I don't know your personal situation. I don't want to judge. But I mean, if the government could really prove the fact that this was a fake green card, if they already proved it, that means they believed it was real. So if they have to really show, you know, smoking gun maybe to say it was fake, and then work with the government and see it happens. It's not something I handle. I don't deal with cases like that, so I don't know the details on something like that. I'm sorry you have to go through that though. Kenna, you're welcome. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. Broken Pig asks, I need to meet once to bring my boyfriend USA. Okay, so Broken One, I think you're talking about a fiance visa, and you're asking if I want to bring my boyfriend or fiance to the United States, do we have to meet once? Yes, it's a requirement for the K-1 fiance visa that you have met the foreign fiance at least once in the last 2 years before filing the application. So it's very important you document it well. You need to go there, have your flight ticket to go. They showed you seeing each other, to have like photos together. Sometimes I tell people, get a newspaper, take it together, a picture together. So the newspaper has a date on it, has you both sitting there, so you could tell you're together. Maybe go on a trip, you know, another flight together, so you have another flight together. All this kind of stuff show you're together, physically saw each other, and you could bring down the dates, have passport stamps, show what dates you're in that country. All this kind of stuff to document that you actually saw each other once to take care of the fiance visa process. Now, there are waivers of the 2-year meeting requirement for the fiance visa. And so in those kind of cases, you have to prove there's some sort of health reason, emergency reason that prevents you from seeing each other, or some sort of cultural or religious reason, which is rare, but you could do it. For example, I had one case where the gentleman, the petitioner, the U.S. citizen, was so sickly he couldn't even leave his house, the poor guy. And he met someone overseas, and that person applied for a tourist visa to come and visit him to see what the relationship would happen, how it would go, but her visa was denied. So we told the government, hey, listen, this guy's too sick. We got letters from his doctors that explained his condition, and we also said, you know, she tried to get a tourist visa to come here, you guys denied it, and put these together and say, well, there's no possible way they could see each other. And so the government accepted. It took a while to get it approved, but it was accepted. And eventually the fiance got the K-1 fiance visa, came, they got married. Unfortunately, the guy was sickly and he passed away soon after they got married. It's a very sad case. But he got to see his loved one before that happened. So, sorry to laugh, it's such a gory ending all of a sudden to it. But that's the reality of life. It's but we got to at least get them see each other. They were dating and online and a long distance relationship for years. until this actually worked out. So a lot of lawyers had told him it can't happen, it won't happen, and he was down and out. He had fallen in love, and so I was happy to at least help him see his loved one before he passed away. Unfortunately, it was a sad ending to it all, but there was some glimmer of joy in the middle of that. All right, so the next question: how do I deport someone from deport someone? You know, for gun, I can't really help you. I'm not into deporting people. I'll help people come here. You definitely look online and see what kind of forms they talk about that stuff, but it's not something I could guide you to help you over here. Miss Candle asks, can you still do a joint sponsor for family class spouse case? So joint sponsor is when you need to financially support a foreign person as part of a green card case. Joint sponsorship is still allowed, but they've gotten stricter on there. And the way the rules are in, it's no problem at all, but the way they're actually doing it, it's really strict. So preferably the joint sponsor, the person who's going to also take financial responsibility for the person who gave the green card, should probably be a close relative or friend. You can show that they're there for them. They're looking into that now, even though there's absolutely no requirement for that to be part of the rules. And they're just strict. You want to make sure they make good money. But you know, if you need a joint sponsor, they're going to be strict on that as well, because they're like, well, how are you going to support the family? You really want to get into the foreign person's background. Do they have education? Do they speak English? Are they healthy? Can they get health insurance? How is their credit report? Do they have assets? Do they, all this kind of stuff. It's a whole new world that's going on in immigration and sponsorship in particular under this public charge rule where the sponsorship comes into place. So it's all new because the coronavirus, everything's shut down. So they changed all the rules and then everything's shut down. So we don't really know how the rules are going to play out because we haven't practically seen it all happen, which is kind of a weird place to be in. We just know the rules have changed and we're waiting to see how strict they're going to be once they start opening up the system for completion on these cases that require affidavit of support and are subject to a public charge directly. All cases are subject to public charge, one particular family type cases. So we'll see, but generally, yeah, joint sponsors available, but you really want to talk to an immigration lawyer to look at their taxes, look at your taxes, their W-2s, income statements, work history, to analyze all that stuff, the relationship you have with them, to see what's going on, to make it the best way possible. If you want to schedule a consultation with my office, my email is info@jqqlaw.com. Just email me there. There is a consultation fee, but email me and describe what your situation is. If I give you a quick answer, I'll try to do my best to do that. If not, we can schedule a time and I'll break down whether a 30-minute or a 1-hour consultation is needed. All right, so Larry asked, will Trump extend his executive order stopping immigration that he passed last month for 60 days? Okay, that specific one. No, immigration, he makes a decision. So one of the travel bans that President Trump put into place recently was that he's stopping immigrant visa holders, people who are going to get a green card from the embassies, to be able to come to the United States unless they fall within some exceptions. For example, they're married to a U.S. citizen or something like that. It's set to last 60 days, then he's going to make a decision whether he's going to extend it or not. And so it's up to him. I don't have an answer. Immigration Department doesn't have an answer. That's a decision President Trump will make if he wants to extend this particular travel ban further. Now, the embassies are shut down right now, so even if he didn't do the travel ban, practically speaking, it's the same. There's some people who got caught up in the middle of this who were hit hard. I have cases where people, you know, can't come. I don't want to go into complication on that, but that's really up to the president how long it's going to take. No one knows other than him. It's a personal decision. The power that he gets is the president of the United States. Forever gone, but it's not fair to fake love. I can't tell. I can't help you. Sorry, Forever gone. Okay. Preston Paul asks, how long to get green card if case at NBC, wife of U.S. citizen? You know, first you gotta, I talked about this earlier, definitely catch the video where I break this down, but first you gotta submit all the documents to the National Visa Center if your case of a spouse of U.S. citizens at consular processing stage. You know, sometimes it takes a while to submit it. Sometimes you upload it and the government says you're missing a document. You're not missing a document. They're being incorrect. And so those kind of cases, you got to submit it again, wait for their approval. Sometimes they're slower, sometimes they're faster. And then you got to wait for an interview to happen at the embassies. But importantly, the embassies are shut down right now. So when you ask how long is it going to take, how long is the coronavirus going to last? I don't know. So these are factors you got to take care of. I wouldn't ask the question how long. It's not a realistic question. If you go to the embassy's website, they tell you don't make any plans yet. Don't sell your house. Don't make any decisions. Don't buy any tickets. You never know. People go to the embassy. I've had cases. They go to the embassy, do the interview, and they say, we'll let you know. 3 years go by. 3 years. And these are special cases. They're related to most of the Middle Eastern countries and the like. But if those people ask me how long it takes, and I say, well, on average, it takes, 3-4 months, and it took them 3 years, it's inconsistent. So I don't know anything about your background, I don't know anything about your spouse's background, which country, which embassy you're going to do, your financial issues. So I can't really, no one can answer that question. All I can say is be patient, try to do your paperwork the best, maybe work with an attorney, and, hope for the best, pray. That's the best thing I can tell you, unfortunately. They're dealing with bureaucracy. Mafimo asks, I'm a citizen automatically. My girl comes via citizen. Uh, girls 12 come to visit. Mafia, your question is not coherent, so please re-ask it. Yeah, just re-ask it. There's a lot of different ways that could be interpreted, so please have a full sentence. Try to get rid of the typos, and we'll try to answer your question. Marie asks, I have DACA and haven't gotten my stimulus check. I don't know about stimulus checks. That's an accounting thing, a tax thing that's just based on. So I wouldn't be able to give you information on that. You're welcome, Broken Pick. Okay, forever gone. I'm gonna have to just let your questions go. I'm sorry that you're going through this situation. Sir Rochelle asks, will there be another stimulus check? That's a political question. Watch CNN. They'll give you answers to that. This is about immigration here. I won't be able to answer that question. Cash Mom asks, is a green card protected after 5 years of having it? What do you mean by protected? No, there's no additional protection. There's nothing. So there's this misunderstanding. There's a part of the rules that say if you got a green card by mistake after 5 years, they won't take it away from you. But that's one part of the statute says that, but there's another part that says no, you still be deported. There's an inconsistency in the way they wrote the statute. In some circuits, depending on what the mistake was that you got your green card, like I think in New Jersey, there's a couple of states where, yeah, the 5-year protection somewhat come into play, but almost always it doesn't. They can find a way around it to kick you out. So it depends on what you've done wrong. For example, if you go and kill somebody, you do a felony, no, there's no protections. But it depends on what the issue is and what area of the United States you are. So there's a lot of factors you have to review, but most likely, no, there's no protections after 5 years. Very rare small cases where that would apply. All right, Waleed asks, how long is the process for the embassy? I just discussed this earlier. Hopefully you caught that. David asks, hello, I was expediting my case almost 5 months and 400. I haven't heard anything yet. Well, as I talked about earlier, they have closed up interviews for naturalization, for citizenship, in-person interviews due to coronavirus. So you're not going to hear anything yet until they reopen these offices. So just be patient and wait for that to happen. An interview is required, and that expedite didn't really do anything. Labisk asks, I have submitted everything for my spouse at NBC. We talked a lot about NBC today, so definitely catch the video and see what's going on. If you want private consultation, review your personal case, email my office at info@jqqlaw.com. We could look at that. The video for this recording should be up the next day or two, so you catch it there. We talked a lot about NBC and stuff. I don't have to review your particular case. Jose asks, Mexico is better? Well, God bless. Cash Mom, yes. Sorry, Cash Mom, I can't remember what your previous question was. Mexico. Thank you, Jose, for loving Mexico. I don't know what to tell you. God bless you. Okay, Marcy asks, I've been told the only way I can get papers is getting married. Thank you for all the info. Well, not exactly. First of all, if you get married, it has to be for love. It can't just be for a green card. But there's U visas, there's T visas, there's VAWA sometimes, there's cancellation of removal. There may be other options. I usually don't handle any of those other type of options, but if you want, you should definitely consult an attorney in private to review your case and explain it to you. That's the way to go. I wouldn't rely on what other people tell you. Most of the time it's wrong. What I found, most people don't understand the immigration system. Whenever I watch the news and they talk about immigration, about 98% of what they say is factually incorrect. Whether they're pro-immigration or against immigration, only people who understand immigration are immigration lawyers. It's that complicated. Even when I get interviewed, and I don't even do interviews with news agencies anymore, because even the ones who want to help me out or something like that or say good stuff about immigration, they take what I say and then they mischaracterize it by accident or they don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, and they change it. And so then all of a sudden what's written in the newspaper print, and in big newspapers too, famous ones, it's incorrect. So never listen to other people, never listen to that. Talk to a lawyer, not just one lawyer, talk to 3 or 4 lawyers, because chances are if you talk to 4 lawyers, 1 or 2 of them will give bad advice. Unfortunately, it's a complicated area of law. A lot of people just want the money. They don't really study it all day. Some people will say, I'm an accident attorney, a car accident attorney, I'm a real estate attorney, I'm a personal injury attorney, I'm a bankruptcy attorney, and I'm an immigration attorney. Immigration is so complicated. I teach it, I talk, I do it every day, and I'm considered, a great resource for immigration law. It's that if you talk to the immigration community, put on my videos and stuff, and I can honestly say every day I'm still learning new stuff, even though I spend all day every day for the last 10 years studying it. I teach it at law schools, I teach it at other lawyers, I'm at conferences, I'm at panels, and there's always something new to learn. So if someone does immigration and 50 other things, even one other thing, I would not go to them as a resource for immigration law. I'm sorry if some of my friends and colleagues do that. Immigration is too complicated to be dabbling in it. And so definitely talk to several people to get advice that's helpful for you. All right, thank you for joining. Labias, same questions. Thank you, immigration lawyer told me actually Immigration told me actually, okay, any idea when the embassies will open? No. Sorry, I'm going through a lot of backed up questions to rush you through it. We only have a little bit of time left, another minute left. So let me pick up one last question. What is the total cost for I-693 medical exam? So when you apply for a green card, this will be our last question, but when you apply for a green card, you have to, in the US or even overseas, you have to do a medical checkup. How much does it cost? Every doctor is different. It's a private market. Go to see the civil surgeon list if you're doing I-693. It's a website in USCIS. You type in your zip code as your local doctors. Call each one up, see how much it costs, how much the vaccines cost. Prices vary, so there's no fixed cost. Just call around to see the best price. That's, you don't have to go to a lawyer that's in your area, wherever it is. Just call around and do that investment. What's more important than price, and the price is important, but is make sure the doctor gives you an additional copy for you to review, because they'll give you a sealed envelope that has the information that the government needs. You're not supposed to open it, but you want to get a second copy to review what's in it, because the doctors sometimes make mistakes. They write your name wrong, or they mark a box, or forget to mark a box, and so that becomes problematic. So you really want to do that. You want to see how long it takes them to give you the results. Some doctors take forever. So you want to ask how much it costs. You want to ask, will they give you a copy or not? You want to ask how long it'll take, and you want to go over all that kind of stuff. When you ask how much it costs, you want to get into the vaccine cost, because that could be a big add-on, and the actual medical exam itself. Sometimes you may need a chest x-ray, so that could be additional cost. So it's all over the place. You got to kind of go there and see. Unfortunately, it's just the cost of getting a green card to become a permanent U.S. resident. Well, thank you everyone for joining today. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, click on the bell icon to get more information, clips, and more like that. Go to Instagram, JQK Law Firm, and if you're on TikTok, continue following and commenting, and we'll do this again. I'll be back on Monday through Friday, Pacific, 5 p.m. time. I'm doing this live Q&A. As long as these fun questions, good questions are continuing, I'm happy to be here and enjoy helping others learn about the process, and it's a confusing process that it is. Again, thank you all so much. I hope you have a great weekend. God bless and be safe. Bye, everyone.